Ultimate Chicken Horse is defined by its unique building mechanics. The endless replayability that comes from building the level yourself as you go is the game's greatest strength, but it's also one of its greatest weaknesses. In competition, people who want to win will use the best strategies available, and with so many combinations of blocks, there are nearly an endless number of potential exploits. Basically anyone who has ever played the game has had the genius idea to make the level impossible when they're winning so that others can't score. But things go way deeper than that. So here are 5 techniques and exploits in UCH that were so powerful that they needed to be banned. Most people who have gotten at least a little bit good at UCH have discovered that it's possible to make this jump, where the wall protrudes 2 blocks outwards. This is known as a wide jump. What most people don't realize is that with enough technical skill, you can go much further. By using an advanced technique to turn around quicker, it becomes possible to do the same jump but 3 blocks out. And it doesn't end there. As a matter of fact, by combining 3 different advanced techniques, it's possible to jump as many as 5 blocks out. By super jumping, we can get an extra block of jump height. If we do a super jump onto a block that moves upwards, we can get even more height. Lastly, if we hold both directions at the same time and turn around by letting go of the direction away from the wall, we get something called a backwards wall jump, which lets us turn around much quicker. Jumping 5 blocks out is overwhelmingly difficult. Even jumping 4 is so hard that placing 1 is enough to win a set against most competitive players. Because of their polarizing and unfun nature, they were banned from competitive play. The next banned technique is similar to the last, where it's a high-level extension of something that a lot of casual players already know about. If you've played the game for long enough, you've probably seen something like this, where you can crawl underneath a block. But this concept extends pretty far. If you walk right up to a wire like this, run into it, and crouch immediately, you can set up a crouch walk. You can do the same thing with a spike ball, but it's even tighter, and it has a big problem. About 12% of the time, you're gonna die when you come out on the other end. 12% is pretty low, so for a long time people just assumed that they made a mistake somehow when they died, but it turns out that this is actual RNG, and whether or not you died was determined by your sub-frame polling position. Basically a very small distance that is smaller than the amount that you move in a single frame. This level of precision is not humanly consistent, so it was banned. You can take this even one step further. With an extremely precise jump, it's possible to land right beside a block and slide underneath it while your character is landing. This is so precise that pixel perfect is not enough to describe it. There isn't a single person in the world who can come even remotely close to doing it consistently. Actually getting it is a product of luck more than anything else, so it was banned from competitive play. I've seen some comments before asking how anybody can play this game seriously, because what's stopping people from just making the level impossible? Now, if you have more than 2 brain cells, it's probably obvious that this is banned from competitive play. If you do it, you're disqualified from the tournament. But if you're tricky enough, there are some ways to get around it. For example, there's a special tech skill where you can trigger a one-way door, move to let it come back out, then perfectly time a jump off of it before it has the chance to trigger again. This is known as a one-way bait. But what if you have more points than your opponent? If you really wanted to win, you could just sit on top of the one-way door forever and make it impossible to get through. You can do something similar with a flower and a wire. If I set up a flower like this and trigger it from the right side, it'll turn itself around along with the wire, blocking the path and making it impossible to get through. These techniques are known as trigger gating, and both are banned from competitive play. Have you ever been playing the game casually and set up a boxing glove at the start to kill your friends? Well, so have I, along with probably everybody who's ever played UCH. I can't lie, it's pretty funny to do, but it turns out there's more to it than you might think. If you're the player who's hosting the game and your friends are laggy enough, it becomes possible to hit the boxing glove before they even get a chance to move. This is because of something called host priority, and it applies to just about everything in the game. For example, if the host places a coin next to the spawn, they can often guarantee that they're the one who gets it. Because of this, boxing gloves, coins, first points, and magnet platforms are all banned from competitive play. Did you know that you can enable respawns in this game? Many casual players don't, but it's an option in the game, and competitive players almost exclusively play with multiple lives because it gives them more opportunities to do difficult setups. In order to prevent people from respawning and just dying instantly again, the developers added a small window of invulnerability every time you respawn. If you really wanted to force everyone to play with less lives, you could create something like this, that requires respawn invulnerability to get through. A lot of the time, people will build things right at the spawn, so there's no way to prevent people from accidentally using this. But any setup that requires the use of this technique is banned. There are still more banned techniques that I haven't covered, but a lot of them would get too bogged down with technical details. If you're interested in learning more about competitive UCH, or even trying it out for yourself, I've put a link to the competitive UCH Discord in the description.